Hi everybody, welcome to another small little segment I decided to throw out there because it's summer. And being summer, I can now work on 80s cars where all the plastics won't break. And anybody who knows 80s cars, you want to work when it's relatively warm because the plastics are brittle, and they're horrible. But to work with. I mean, I like the looks of them, but that's just what I am. Now, what is this? This is a 1984 R5 Turbo 2. I've owned this since 1996. Yes, I've owned it a long time. Never really got it out on the road consistently. Had to rebuild the motor, rebuilt the motor, then I was waiting for parts here, parts there, did this, did that. It's always been like, hurry up and wait 3 months for parts, basically. And building all the other stuff, it went by the wayside. And then, trying to get tires. Tires were, that was the final part of this. How can I put it? To get the car legally on the road. The tires that are on this are worn out and dry rotted, and they will not pass New Hampshire state inspection. Because we have to have a state inspection to put it on the car, put the car on the road, and they haven't been able to pass for a couple of years. They're all dry rotted and cracked, and it's just what the tires were. Now, this is one of the big problems with a lot of the early 80s cars is that you can't get tires for them, just oddball sizes. Some of the stuff, 205, 50, 15s, yeah, you can easily get those. 225, 50, 16s, yeah, you can easily get that. 225, 50, 15s you can get. Those are all readily available tires, inexpensive, you can get them, and they don't seem to be drying up, which is good. Now this one right here is basically the front tire of a GT5 Pantera, which is a 285 4015. All right, well, that was that's the stickler because you can't get the tires. And then I once saw a video on Harry's Garage, and he was getting tires for his Countach. And then, I'm sitting there going, oh, that's kind of cool, because I like Countaches. I'd never buy one, especially for the price they are, but it was a revelation because the rep there says, listen, we're also bringing out 285 4015s because a lot of Panteras had them on them. And I'm sitting going, well, that's the same tire I need on this. All right. So what I did was I contacted, Harry, and I messaged him on YouTube, or it was on Facebook, on Instagram, something like that, or one of the two. And never got back to me. I said, all right. So I waited and kept looking to see if anything was being sold in America, because if you've ever tried to bring tires in through Europe, I had it one time, and oh my God, they ran me through the ringer. And they were rally tires, So that was the problem right there. And I didn't want to go through that again. I wasn't even going to try. What did I do? Well, I waited and waited, and basically found that there was one place out in California for having like $600 each delivered, and I'm saying, well, it's almost winter, I'll hold off on it. And then in the spring, I looked up and I found Tire Rack had them, and they had them for like $450. Oh, Jesus, that's great, So I ordered two, and they said that's great, two on order, but we don't have any in stock right now. We just sold the last one, and we'll wait 2 months. Well, that's what I did. Well, I waited too much, and they said, well, it's still on back order. You still want to be in your place in line? I said, absolutely. Another 2 months, said, well, they discontinued them. So I'm shit out of luck for tires. And I was like, had my heart set on getting this thing on the road because it's, I don't have any other wheels for it, and I don't want to put new wheels because I really like the looks of these wheels. Now, I wanted to figure out, say, okay, well, what am I going to do? Well, let me pull the wheels off and let me show you what I did, because I have a solution now for the 285 4015 Gotti dilemma. All right, let's pull them off. Well, we're down in the shop. Here we have the tires for the R5 for the rear. As you can see, this is a massive tire. 285 40 15. That's huge. And you have to remember, it's a 1400 cc motor, 1397. It's turbocharged. Granted, it was really, really powerful for its day. But, you know, I put custom steel liners in it, I put custom forged pistons in it, and I'm hoping, you know, when I change it over to EFI to get rid of that stupid CIS crap, I want to get this thing up to probably 250 horsepower. And I think it's gonna do it fairly well. You know, I have to make sure the intercoolers and make sure everything is really on you know, on par, you know, with everything. I'll probably change the camshaft. Anybody have any suggestions for camshafts out there? Let me know. You know, because right now it has a so-called tour de course camshaft, but you know, and I know that's, unless you have the specs in your hand, that's a load of shit. You know, but whatever. We will now get on to the wheels. All right. First thing is, we're looking at the rim or the wheel and tire progress, and this is what I did. I basically changed the inner barrel. This is what it was. This is the original Gotti wheel inner barrel on here. They know it's an inner. You know it's an inner barrel because there's no portion where it's been drilled for the valve stem. There we go. And it's not polished. What I did was I said, okay, well, I need to turn this wheel. So I looked on my app. I have a car calculator app, and you know, just grab it free on your phone, and you punch in the tires. And I tried to find the closest tire in rolling diameter. The 225/50/15 is 3 millimeters less or smaller in diameter than the 285/40/15s. I'm sitting going, well, that's pretty good because at 100 kilometers an hour, you're doing 99.5 kilometers an hour, so your speedometer should be relatively close. I don't remember what the originals would do because you're actually dealing off the originals, so you probably not. It's not right because I never had the original tires, and I forgot to actually do the tire calculations on those too. So, all right, that's what just happened. So, what did I do to get a smaller inner barrel? All right, what I did was I called up. I emailed France, GBS Alpine. They're the Gotti distributors. I said, can I get, seeing how this is basically a 10-inch wide rim, it's like 3.75 on the outer shell right here, on the outer lip, all the way in, and on the inner one was like 6.5, and you had a step-out seal in between. So basically, you know, let's see, a 6-inch, let's just say for 6-inch inner, 4-inch outer. We'll just keep it like that. It's a 10-inch wide rim. What I said is, okay, well, I measured this, and I said, do you have any, you know, 4-inch or 4.5-inch rim inner barrels? Because you listed it on the website. And they said, nope, out, can't get them, discontinued. Great, all right. So I looked around, and I talked to a couple people, one down south. They were just stuck up snots. I mean, just this arrogant little shit that was down there. I said, all right, I'm not taking that. Contacted the place off of Alibaba that does them, you know, and they said, oh, just give me your specs. And just like, I don't want to do this. I do not want to order from China because I have a feeling the quality is going to be absolute shit by the time it gets here. That's one of the things, you know, and I wanted to order original Gotti. So next best thing, I contacted a company in America, out in California. What did they do? I sent them my center section, and they made me what I needed. They made me a actually I can't even remember, it's a 4.5-inch inner barrel, you know, to make these 15x8s basically. I think it's a 4.5 inner barrel. And what it is that you have to take the center section out, send it to them, they made it up, and they send it back to you, and they charge you, it was I think it's $200 a barrel, I think, maybe $250, I can't remember. Because it was last year when I did it, and I haven't pulled out the receipt to show exactly what I did, but you know, you get the general gist. It's compared to a $500 a piece tire. That's, you know, one tire got both barrels, and the tires that I put on brand new, which I have them over there, were $100 a piece. They're inexpensive. The rubber nowadays is much better than what was back in the '80s. So there you go. You probably got a much better tire, and I think I did Falcons on them, but I'm not really sure. Doesn't matter. I didn't do the yin yang thing, tires from China, you know. But there is a way that I figured out on how to get these things apart. That is so you don't strip them out. That's a big thing. So let's pull this one apart so we can get the tire off. I don't think my tire machine will pull this off. I'm going to try, but there's a way I did it to save the rims because the tires are like concrete. That's the problem. They're just like concrete. Let's pull these things. Here we have the front rim with all the Allen bolts. I'm using a T-handle Allen key to go in here. It's 5 millimeters for the Gotti. Whatever is yours is yours. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to try and turn this and using it to break the seal that way, or trying to break the bolt the other way. You want to use this over here. Seeing how you have 6-point bolts all the way around, you want to take your wrench like that. And the reason why I don't use an impact on all of them, I'll do it after they're all loose, because I want to feel if they're rusting or it's binding up. Because if it is, if they're rusty on the back, you work them back and forth, so you don't strip them. That's how you do it when you pull this thing apart. And you have to go around to all the bolts and just make sure you do it by hand. And after you're fairly confident that that they're not going to seize up on you or break, then you can use the impact gun to spin them out just to save you some time. There we go. All the bolts are out. I have all the washers, everything right here. I got to put them right down there. And that way, some of them will come out kind of hard, but that is what it is. Let me get these down here, and let's go split the rim. Oh, one thing I almost forgot. Before you do any of this, make sure there's no air in the tire. I forgot to say that. And also, all you car guys out there, buy a tire machine. It's freaking awesome. See how easy that was? That is a sealing ring. Remember, use a rubber mallet or a soft face mallet. Don't use brass, don't use steel, don't use aluminum, don't use anything. You want to make sure this lip is fine. So I'm just going to give that a clean. I'm not going to do anything else until we put it back together again. But, you know, you have to remember, this is going to go like this, and it fits. They did a good job. Take a look. I mean, it's no movement, so that shows a good job. Just give that a quick wipe down, and then we're going to put it all back together again, and we'll finish it up. Now we're at the point of putting the wheel back together. Pretty much just doing reverse what you want to do. What it is you have your center section that goes into the new rim, just like that. You want this sealing ring, make sure it's not kinked. I mean, you should buy a new one, but I'm not, France is just not next door. And these wheels are probably going to be coming apart when I get the car completed and driving. I'll probably pull apart the wheels one winter, get new sealing rings, new bolts, paint them, refinish them, stuff like that. So that's kind of what the end game is. But right now, I want to get them together so I know I have something that I can get the thing on the road. That's it, you know. And I'm just going to make sure there's nothing there. Make sure the whole thing is together. And you take, I just cleaned it up roughly, and that's all you're going to have to do. So let me put this thing all back together again. And remember, the seal goes in between the rims because you don't want the air leaking. The steel stopping here, and stopping the air from here. And it's still very, very pliable. So I'm pretty confident it's going to seal, but I am going to put some latex around it anyway. That's just me, and I'll show you why here in just a little bit. But let me get the first couple bolts started. That way, we can have a car that has tires that I can move it on. Those are set in there. Let's oil all the bolts, put them all back in. That way they easily come off, no problem. They're all spun onto the nylock, then we have to tighten them all down. Then I'll finish up. I mean, I believe the book says 6 to 8 foot-pounds, but I don't have a torque wrench that goes that low. So I'm just going to use my 1/4-inch drive, make sure it's all snug, keep going around, make sure it's all snug. That's pretty much it. Nothing fancy. But then I'll show you what I'm going to do one more step before we put the tire on. Well, we're done. As you saw before, I went around it. I probably didn't see it all, but I mean, I'll cut it all out. But I went around it 4 times, you know, to make sure everything's compressed. The seal was all compressed, everything's set. I just ran around it with silicone. You're probably wondering why. Because you have a seal in there. Well, the seal is old. And the thing is, when these wheels come back apart to get polished and get the centers redone, I'm going to buy new seals, you know. But the reason why I'm using this, and it's bathroom silicone, all it is over here, lovely, is this. This is bathroom silicone. It's just white, and they use it in this, and these wheels never leaked. Well, what are they? These are magnesium-centered 3-piece BBS wheels you use for the Audi factory rally cars. These came out of a collection from John Buffum. I bought them from the person who bought them from the person who bought them from him, because he bought them all from John. And what it is that when they were all there, he basically said, "Hey, you want to buy these before I go to Ohio? I mean, go to California?" I said, "Sure." I bought them all, and there we go. Thanks, Greg. But these things never leak air, and they use silicone. And I'm sitting going, you know, that's a wonderful idea. So guess what? I'm throwing silicone on that. Other than that, I mean, I just have to let that dry, and then I will put a tire on it so we can, you know, put it back up on the car, and that's pretty much it. You know, I still have to do the engine, the transmission, all that stuff to that car, you know, which is actually the engine is the engine management, and I have to do the transmission and all the other things I have to do to make it roadworthy for New Hampshire, you know. But hopefully this will work. You know, it'll give me a good indication when everything else is done, everything works, everything's all set. That's when I'll re-pull these apart, get new seals, new nylocks, new tires. Well, I have the new tires, but I'll use the old tires for now, and make it work. And I hope you guys who own these cars, any of the 80s cars, hopefully this will work for you. You know, I want to see those cars out on the road. Go to Radwood, you know? What the hell? Have fun. Hopefully it'll save you some money in the long run too. But hey, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. I hope you got something out of it. You know, it was just a different alternative, you know, instead of buying brand new rims. All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have a great day.